Today I want to talk about a long-standing myth in the fitness community, and that is the myth that you need to consume a large amount of protein within a specific anabolic window. Often this anabolic window has been told to be within 30 to 60 minutes of exercising. This is one of the most persistent myths in nutrition. The traditional thought behind consuming protein immediately after exercise was that the muscle protein synthesis signal occurred within a narrow time frame after exercise in which you must consume protein to get optimal strength and muscle building results. However, current research strongly indicates that the total daily protein intake is much more important for whether or not you are going to build muscle than the protein timing. If you were to take one woman who was eating 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes, but not really paying attention to her overall protein intake throughout the rest of the day, and you compared that woman to another woman who was making sure to get 130 grams of protein throughout a 24-hour period, but didn't even care about her protein timing, the woman who optimized for protein intake had much better results. There may be a small advantage to consuming protein after your workout, but the advantage is in that you're probably getting more additional protein than you would have if you didn't consume any protein after your workout. So yes, if it helps you get your overall protein numbers, absolutely consume some protein after your workout. It's a great thing to do. I like doing it myself, but there is no need to rush to get that protein in within 30 minutes. Otherwise, you're not going to build as much muscle. That's not true, and thankfully, you can get your protein anytime that's convenient for you. So let's talk about what actually matters for protein. First of all, if you're trying to build the most muscle possible, you should be aiming for 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein daily per kilogram of body weight. That is a lot. That is up to a gram per pound of ideal body weight. If you know your body fat percentage, you can adjust these numbers more precisely, but that's just an overall range based on the average person in order to maximize muscle building. Let's talk about when protein timing might actually matter. So protein timing isn't completely irrelevant, but the importance has largely been overblown. Sometimes when it does help to have protein immediately after your strength training session is if you're planning on doing several sessions per day. Also, if you tend to get faint after your workouts, especially if you've been sweating a lot or just didn't tend to eat a lot before your workout, it is helpful to consume a meal that contains a good amount of protein, a good amount of carbs, and a good amount of hydration after your workout. Other than that, you can kind of do whatever you feel like doing. Like I said, it can be helpful to eat a large amount of protein after your workout, but the helpfulness mostly comes from the additional protein intake in your daily total that gives, rather than the timing itself. So if you are ready to start building muscle, building strength, and finding out real science-backed nutrition strategies to optimize your health, please subscribe to my channel, and you can always reach out to me on my website also, and I'd be happy to talk to you about VIP coaching.